A little bit, perhaps, in his championship year in 21, where the intensity, particularly after Silverstone, on track between Lewis and Max became so intense. I think Max had very strong feelings on that Silverstone accident. And of course, he'd been clear championship leader going into Silverstone. Him out of the race, and then more or less out of the race in Hungary when he got hit by Valtteri. Not intentional at all, but still got hit and pretty much hardly scored any points. So gone from easy championship leaders to now feeling a bit more pressure. And Mercedes managed to find quite a lot more pace out of their car towards the end of the season. So it's always easier for the hunter than the hunted. And Max was starting, I think, to just feel a little bit of pressure from the hunted. And hence that, he was, in reality, was probably lucky not to get a penalty from his driving in Brazil. The Abu Dhabi? No, it wasn't Abu Dhabi, sorry, the one before. Saudi, where they had a bit of a ding-dong. That was a little bit more, I think that was not clear, but Max was probably a bit out of order in Brazil, in truth. So I think he's feeling it a bit, but, and indeed, Checo, it's the usual thing when Checo if the teammate they've been beating suddenly starts to get closer, it's not that suddenly the teammates got better, it's that the guy, it's the same with Fernando and Felipe Massa towards the end of 2010. Suddenly they get closer because the lead driver's feeling the pressure.
And what do you do with the lead driver in that position? So would you spend time with Max? Would you take it upon yourself to talk to him and see how he's doing? And
a little bit, but I think Max is his own man. He's incredibly mature and rounded and philosophical. I think from the outside, not sure people fully appreciate and understand Max, just like they didn't with Sebastian. First of all, there's this sort of demonisation that both of them have suffered at times, which I think is very unfair. And maybe that's also a little bit of the British media, if I'm honest. Sky have a huge influence around the world. Their viewing figures, or their viewing is truly international, but their coverage is quite nationalistic, dare I say, and that can have an influence. It's this thing that now with journalism, typically I'm not saying I don't want to include this, so don't take this personally, but
no offence.
But there is that trend to sort of either put people on a pedestal or knock them down.
It's black or white, heaven or hell. There's no nuance. So for people who, based on what they've seen, have an opinion of Max Verstappen that you wouldn't agree with, what would you like to tell those people that they might have wrong about Max?
I think that he's very intelligent. He's got an incredible ability to. If it almost feels as if he can drive the car automatically, he doesn't, of course, but he has so much. He can drive the car and has so much processing power left over that he can then think a lot about how he's driving the car, how he's looking after the tyres, what he might need to do on the settings, or if he's not sure, ask GP on the radio what he should be doing, but highlighting the problems. Reading the race, it still fascinates me. Fernando's another one that can do that seemed to be able to read the race. But I haven't got all the stuff in front of them. How do they do that? I don't know. Some of that, I know you can see a lot on the Diamond Vision, and they do that. It's amazing how the drivers can see the Diamond Vision, look up and see.
So, while they're driving a Grand Prix, they're looking at the big screens that are up for the fans in the grandstands.
Really? Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
And then seeing the splits and the times and what's going on.
And is that common, or is that a rare skill?
I think it's rare, and it's only the very top guys that can do it. Yeah.
I remember David Coulthard actually saying to me the difference between him and Michael Schumacher when they were racing was what he called spare capacity.
Yeah.
He said when he was at his full tilt in a Formula One car, that took everything out of him. Whereas Michael, Sebastian Vettel, Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, Fernando Alonso, the true greats, they have a bit left over, wouldn't you say?
They do. They have a huge amount left over. They have huge mental reserve left over. I won't name drivers, it would be unfair, but you can fairly easily see it if you watch a Formula One race and you know a bit about it. You can see the ones that haven't got much capacity left over. And they're the ones that typically also get in soils and accidents and tangles and so on and so forth, because they just got nothing left. They can drive a car and they can do a qualifying lap, but be gobsmacked if any of those guys could win a championship.
Can I ask how you feel Max internally dealt with what happened at the end of the 2021 season? Because it still feels to me like Red Bull are blamed for something that was totally not in your control. You know, this was an FIA race director decision that I kind of reflects badly on Red Bull in an unfair way, you know?
I think, honestly, Max is so, he has such a self-assured, so self-assured, and this is in a positive way, it's not in a negative way. You know, there's arrogance and there's self-assured. And Max is he's not arrogant, but he is very self-assured and self-confident. And he's a deep thinker, but he doesn't let things like that, they don't really get to him. He's able to shut that off and just get on with his job and get on with his task and do what he loves doing, which is driving racing cars.
Did it get to you?
No, it didn't. I mean, I find it actually, I think it got to Mercedes, and instead of saying, okay, well, accepting it and moving on, it started to affect their psyche.
Max Verstappen has redefined what it means to be a modern Formula One driver. His dominance, precision, and unrelenting hunger for victory have left even the most seasoned observers in awe. But when Adrian Newey, one of the greatest minds in motorsport history, speaks of being blown away by Verstappen, it's a statement worth dissecting. This video explores the genius of Verstappen through Newey's eyes, diving into what makes Max a true outlier in the world of Formula One. From technical mastery to unparalleled mental resilience, this journey will uncover why Verstappen's talents have changed the game. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why Newey, the architect of countless championship-winning cars, places Verstappen in a league of his own. The 2021 Formula One season stands as one of the most intense in recent memory. As Adrian Newey recounts, the championship battle between Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton reached unparalleled heights of tension. After leading the standings comfortably, Verstappen's fortunes turned at Silverstone. An aggressive clash with Hamilton sent him into the barriers at high speed, erasing his championship lead. This pivotal moment wasn't just about points, it revealed Verstappen's mental fortitude. Instead of succumbing to despair, he returned even hungrier. In Hungary, bad luck struck again when a first-lap incident with Valtteri Bottas further dented his championship hopes. By now, Verstappen was the hunted, with Hamilton and Mercedes turning up the pressure. Despite the setbacks, Verstappen displayed an unshakable resolve. He continued to push the limits, demonstrating what Newey describes as a unique ability to compartmentalize and focus on the task at hand. Adrian Newey's insights into Verstappen's driving reveal a critical element: spare capacity. This is the mental bandwidth that separates the great from the merely good. Verstappen, like legends Michael Schumacher and Ayrton Senna, operates at full tilt while maintaining the ability to think strategically. Newey highlights that Verstappen can process vast amounts of information while driving at the limit. This includes monitoring tire wear, adapting car settings, and reading the race's evolving dynamics. It's a skill so rare that only a handful of drivers in history have exhibited it. Newey compares this to Fernando Alonso's racecraft, noting that Verstappen's ability to anticipate and react is uncanny. Whether glancing at trackside screens to assess gaps or managing his car's performance mid-race, Verstappen operates on a higher plane. This mental clarity underpins his relentless consistency. Red Bull Racing's resurgence in recent years owes much to the symbiosis between Verstappen and Newey's engineering prowess. The RB16B and RB19 cars are marvels of aerodynamics, but it's Verstappen's intuitive understanding of their limits that unlocks their full potential. Newey acknowledges that Verstappen doesn't just drive the car, he becomes one with it. This synergy allows him to extract performance that seems unattainable for others. Whether navigating tight street circuits or high-speed straights, Verstappen consistently finds the edge without overstepping it. This level of harmony requires more than raw talent. It demands feedback and communication. Verstappen's ability to articulate exactly what the car needs enables Newey's team to fine-tune every aspect, from aerodynamics to suspension. As Newey explains, Verstappen's mental resilience sets him apart. The 2021 season's final stages were a cauldron of pressure. Controversial moments in Brazil, Saudi Arabia, and Abu Dhabi tested Verstappen's resolve. Critics questioned his aggressive style, yet Newey defends his driver's approach as calculated rather than reckless. Newey recounts Verstappen's ability to remain unfazed amid external noise. Whether dealing with media scrutiny or rival teams' mind games, Verstappen's focus never wavered. This mental toughness is reminiscent of the greats, Senna, Schumacher, and Hamilton, who thrived under similar conditions. One of the traits that astonishes Newey is Verstappen's race-reading ability. This goes beyond reacting to immediate challenges. It's about predicting scenarios and making proactive decisions. Verstappen seems to see the race several moves ahead, akin to a grandmaster plotting a chess game. For instance, in the 2023 Monaco Grand Prix, Verstappen's tire management and strategic positioning allowed him to maintain dominance despite changing conditions. Newey marvels at how Verstappen processes data, from lap times to tire degradation, and uses it to dictate the race's tempo. This quality isn't teachable, it's innate. Verstappen's instincts, combined with his ability to think critically under pressure, make him a formidable opponent. While natural talent is undeniable, Newey emphasizes Verstappen's relentless work ethic. Behind the scenes, Verstappen immerses himself in preparation, from studying telemetry to refining his technique. This dedication ensures he's always one step ahead. Newey compares Verstappen's approach to that of Sebastian Vettel during his Red Bull dominance. Both drivers share a meticulous attention to detail and an insatiable drive for improvement. For Verstappen, every session is an opportunity to learn and grow. Newey touches on the media's portrayal of Verstappen, noting a tendency to polarize public opinion. Some critics label him aggressive or reckless, yet Newey argues this narrative misses the nuance of Verstappen's brilliance. Far from being a loose cannon, Verstappen's aggression is controlled and deliberate. Newey also highlights Verstappen's maturity and philosophical outlook. Despite his youth, Verstappen demonstrates wisdom beyond his years. He's unshaken by controversy, focusing instead on what he loves most, racing. This unyielding passion fuels his success. As Verstappen continues to shatter records, his legacy grows. From his stunning debut as the youngest F1 race winner to his back-to-back championships, Verstappen has cemented his place among the sport's elite. Yet, Newey believes the best is yet to come. With Red Bull's dominance and Verstappen's unrelenting drive, the duo is poised to redefine the sport's history books. Whether it's breaking Hamilton's records or setting new benchmarks, Verstappen's trajectory is unparalleled. Adrian Newey's admiration for Max Verstappen goes beyond mere talent. It's rooted in an appreciation for a driver who combines natural ability, mental acuity, and relentless determination. Verstappen's unique blend of qualities makes him a generational talent, one who leaves even legends like Newey in awe. As fans, we're witnessing history unfold. Verstappen isn't just racing, he's redefining what it means to be great. Stay tuned, because the story of Max Verstappen is far from over.
He has quite a unique driving style, actually. It's not that easy to get along with. His level of sharp and direct is kind of it's a whole different level.
Max Verstappen completely stunned Alex Albon during his time at Red Bull. Check out this epic clip.
So many people have talked about the Red Bull second seat. You can give us the definitive answer of what it is like to be Max Verstappen's teammate. How do you describe it?
The first thing is, a lot of people say that car is built around him. He's kind of like the Michael Schumacher of Ferrari. He's created this team around him, but truthfully, the car is what it is. He is very quick. So what ends up happening is he has quite a unique driving style, actually. It's not that easy to get along with. Everyone has a driving style. I would say my driving style is a bit more on the smooth side. But I like a car that has a good front end, so quite sharp, quite direct. Max does too, but his level of sharp and direct is kind of another. It's a whole different level. It's eye-watering, eye-wateringly sharp. And to give people kind of maybe an explanation of what that might feel like, I don't know if you guys play computer games at all, but if you bump up the sensitivity
Right.
completely to the max and you move that mouse and it's just darting across the screen everywhere, that's kind of how it feels. It becomes so sharp that it makes you a little bit tense. And so what ended up happening was, especially during my year, you start off being a little bit behind, but not by much. And then as the season goes on, Max wants this front end in the car. He wants his car to be sharper. And as it goes sharper and sharper, he goes quicker and quicker. And for you to catch up, you have to start taking a little bit more risk. You might be a couple tenths behind one session. Just try a little bit more. Okay, I've gone off. I've had a crash. So then you've got to restart. Then you've lost a little bit of confidence. It takes a little bit more time. That gap's growing a little bit. And then the next time you try and go out and, do another job, another spin or another whatever. And it just starts to snowball. And every time the car becomes sharper and sharper, you start to become more tense. And I think it's like any sport. If you start to not be in that flow state and you're having to really think about it, and every time you go into a corner, you don't know how it's going to react. You don't have that kind of, it's purely the confidence in the car.
Oh, yeah.
The flow. It doesn't work. It never works.
So were you enjoying being a Red Bull driver at this point?
Not at all. No, I was struggling. I think I was struggling with the attention around it. Of course, I deleted all my socials and I got away from the social media side of things. I think Formula One in itself is a whole different topic about the new generation and the new fan base that comes with it. It is very different, but it was quite toxic, truthfully. And
What do you mean by that?
just your seats under the spotlight. If I went anywhere, if I Twitter or on Instagram or whatever, the memes that come after you, the kind of it's a very Gen Z kind of style of mocking where you become almost a laughing joke, and it's the easy go-to.
Yeah.
Whenever something happens, it's always a quote of yours or a spin of yours or whatever it may be. So you get rid of it as much as you can. But Thursdays at a track, you can't. You have media day, and I think most sports might be similar to ours, but there's only 2 drivers in a team. So with marketing and with the media, you get assigned a lot of time with them. And so this, the questions you get, you're not performing. Who do you think who could replace you? Or, this driver's performing. What do you think about him? Or, why are you struggling? And all these kind of things. As much as you ignore it, you can't. You actually can't, because on a Thursday, you figure out what everyone's been saying.
The Formula One world is no stranger to intense rivalries, unyielding competition, and the relentless pursuit of perfection. But what happens when you're thrust into the spotlight alongside one of the most talented and relentless drivers the sport has ever seen? Alex Albon's experience as Max Verstappen's teammate at Red Bull Racing is not just a story of motorsport, but a tale of resilience, pressure, and the psychological toll of competing at the pinnacle of racing. By the end of this video, you'll understand why being Verstappen's teammate is one of the toughest roles in Formula One, and why Alex Albon's story is so much more than meets the eye. Red Bull Racing has long been a powerhouse in Formula One, a team with championship ambitions and the resources to match. Central to this dominance is Max Verstappen, a driver who has consistently pushed the boundaries of what is possible on the track. By the time Alex Albon joined Red Bull in 2019, Verstappen was already carving out a reputation as one of the most aggressive and talented drivers on the grid. The team was built around Verstappen, and for good reason. His ability to extract maximum performance from the car, even in less than ideal conditions, was unparalleled. But this created a unique challenge for anyone who stepped into the second seat. The car's development was tailored to Verstappen's driving style, which, as Albon would discover, was far from conventional. Max Verstappen's driving style is best described as hyper-aggressive and incredibly precise. He demands a car with a sharp and responsive front end, allowing him to dive into corners with unmatched confidence. As Alex Albon explained, driving Verstappen's car felt like cranking up the sensitivity in a video game to the maximum. It was so reactive that it became difficult for anyone else to handle, especially a driver with a smoother, more measured style like Albon. To put it in perspective, imagine driving a car where every small input translates to a massive change in direction. For Verstappen, this sensitivity was a tool he mastered, allowing him to push the car to its absolute limit. For Albon, it was a constant battle to adapt and stay competitive. When Albon first joined Red Bull, he was already facing an uphill battle. Verstappen's unmatched pace meant that Albon was often a few tenths of a second behind in early sessions. This gap might seem small, but in Formula One, it's the difference between competing for a podium and struggling in the midfield. As the season progressed, the car became increasingly tailored to Verstappen's preferences. Each tweak to the setup made the car sharper and more aggressive, enhancing Verstappen's performance while leaving Albon struggling to adapt. To bridge the gap, Albon began taking more risks, often resulting in mistakes and crashes. These setbacks eroded his confidence, creating a vicious cycle that only widened the performance gap. Beyond the technical challenges, Albon faced immense psychological pressure. The Red Bull second seat has long been under scrutiny, with drivers struggling to thrive in Verstappen's shadow. Albon's every move was analyzed, criticized, and dissected by fans and the media. Social media became a particularly toxic environment for Albon. Memes, jokes, and relentless criticism made it impossible to escape the scrutiny. Even after deleting his social media accounts, he couldn't avoid the negativity entirely. Every Thursday at the track, media sessions brought a new wave of questions about his performance, his future, and potential replacements. This unrelenting pressure took a toll on Albon's mental health. He admitted to struggling with the attention and the constant comparisons to Verstappen. The lack of confidence in the car only compounded these issues, leaving him in a state where he couldn't perform at his best. Red Bull's approach to team dynamics has often been criticized. While Verstappen's talent is undeniable, the team's focus on maximizing his performance has sometimes come at the expense of the second driver. Albon described the experience as stepping into a team that was essentially built around Verstappen, likening it to Michael Schumacher's dominance at Ferrari. This isn't to say that Red Bull intentionally sabotaged Albon's chances. Instead, it highlights the challenge of competing in a team where the development direction heavily favors one driver. For Albon, it was like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. His smoother driving style clashed with the car's aggressive characteristics, making it nearly impossible to extract the same level of performance as Verstappen. Despite these challenges, Albon's time at Red Bull wasn't without its merits. He showed flashes of brilliance, including podium finishes at Mugello and Bahrain. These moments demonstrated his potential and resilience, even in the face of overwhelming odds. After leaving Red Bull, Albon took time to reflect on his experience. He acknowledged the mistakes he made, but also recognized the unique challenges of being Verstappen's teammate. This self-awareness became a key factor in his resurgence when he returned to Formula One with Williams in 2022. Max Verstappen's dominance at Red Bull has redefined the role of a Formula One teammate. His ability to extract every ounce of performance from the car has set a new benchmark for excellence. However, it has also exposed the difficulties of competing alongside a driver of his caliber. For Alex Albon, his time at Red Bull was a trial by fire. It tested his skills, his mental toughness, and his ability to adapt under pressure. While the experience was undoubtedly challenging, it also provided valuable lessons that have shaped his career. Alex Albon's journey is a testament to the resilience required to succeed in Formula One. It highlights the immense pressure that comes with competing at the highest level and the psychological toll of being in the shadow of a dominant teammate. But more importantly, it's a story of growth, redemption, and finding one's place in a cutthroat environment. By understanding Albon's experience, we gain a deeper appreciation for the complexities of Formula One. It's not just about driving fast, it's about navigating team dynamics, handling pressure, and finding the balance between risk and reward. For Albon, these lessons have paved the way for a promising future, one where he can build on his experiences and continue to grow as a driver. The Red Bull's second seat is one of the most challenging roles in Formula One. It's a position that demands not only exceptional skill, but also the mental fortitude to withstand relentless scrutiny. For Alex Albon, it was a crucible that tested him in every conceivable way. While his time alongside Max Verstappen was fraught with challenges, it also revealed the unyielding determination that defines Albon as a driver. His story is a reminder that even in the face of adversity, growth and redemption are possible. And for fans of Formula One, it's a compelling narrative that underscores the human side of a sport often defined by its machines. As we look to the future, both Albon and Verstappen continue to leave their marks on Formula One. Their journeys serve as a powerful reminder of the resilience, talent, and passion that drive the sport forward. If you've ever wondered what it takes to compete at the pinnacle of racing, Alex Albon's story is a perfect place to start.